Hey, this is Vanessa Love, and this is my channel. Today's about, it's sort of related to mental health, but it's mostly related to systems. And I just want to point out some things that are very difficult for people to do and why people are being held back by the system. Okay, so there's two things. One, not having a GED, and two, having a crime on your record. Okay, so one, the GED. Oh my God. Oh, it's so frustrating, let me tell you. Um, there are not many jobs available to people who don't have GEDs. And the people who are most likely to not have GEDs are the people who don't want to be a part of a system or don't have the the family support to go through a system that is teaching them, for lack of better terms, white history. So yeah, why would people want to learn all of, have to learn algebra in order to graduate when they don't have the concept of math and their family life is kind of shit? Like, so, and plus some people start addictions fairly early, and so they are likely to not graduate from high school because, well, they have addictions. So, it really, even to work at a place like Home Depot, they require a GED. I don't know if they ever check to see if you actually have a GED, but they will say GED required. And so you have someone who, is now in their 30s or 40s who don't have a GED, who had kids and who have other things that are just taking up their time and energy and a whole bunch of other stuff, and they are not able to get simple jobs like flipping burgers, right? And so there's no real way for someone to get ahead that way if they don't have their GED. It is one of the most frustrating parts of working with someone who doesn't have a GED is fuck, how are you gonna get work? All the time it's just fuck, how are you gonna get work? How are you gonna get work? I don't know. I have to research these things all the time because it's well, you're not gonna get to be a manager. You are going to be, in some role, somewhere underneath someone else, because basically the system thinks you're stupid, because you couldn't even get a GED. Yeah, it's so awful. And some of the people who don't have their GEDs are incredibly smart, and you just have to be wow, okay, all right, shit. You could be a big asset to a lot of different companies, and no company is going to look at you because you don't have your GED. And in Connecticut, to have your GED, you have to go through a program who will teach you the class, to teach you, basically to have the test, to have the classes to teach you the test so that you can actually pass it, which I'm actually very much appreciated. I think that, hopefully that gives people a better chance. But some people think that you should just be able to take the test, and that is kind of a big deal. It's a barrier if people can't make the time to go to the class, or the class is too advanced for their brain, and I don't want to make people feel like they're dumb or anything. It's just that some concepts are just really, really hard for some people, and it's one of those things where I'm if it's easy for you, it's easy for you. Of course, you probably passed your high school exams and you went fine. You weren't the one. You aren't the one who I'm talking about in the first place. It's the other people who just the concepts of math is very, very tough, or history and learning all of the details, very, very tough, so you're just really not able to get through, and some things just no no, the brain just doesn't understand the concept, and it's very tough, and yeah, I mean, I wish anyone luck on that journey, because it seems like such an uphill battle consistently. The other aspects of people who like are kept back are people who have been incarcerated, especially for, I think, for like federal offenses. So that would be misdemeanors, right? I am not up on my terms whatsoever on any of these things. I'm like, misdemeanors don't sound like big deals, but maybe they are. Oh crap. So first of all, some of this stuff, like not having good jobs, especially in Connecticut, will prevent you from having good credit, and good credit will prevent you from doing a lot. So, ugh, I also have one client who is not able to get a bank account. That's like a whole other like hell of like, oh my god, trying to figure out how to like undo the whole like program that checks to see if like you are eligible for a like a bank account is so frustrating. Like it's a whole separate like company who does that, by the way. And I know that because I looked that up for my client. So there are things like so in Connecticut, I just know Connecticut law a little bit better than I know other places, but like, so in Connecticut you don't have to disclose things about your background, like if you've had any of like, you know, any arrests or any charges or whatever, but they can't relate to the job that you're doing. So if you are like, if you have tax fraud, you're not going to become a CPA. That's not, you know, but like you can like what job can you do without like handling money? Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's got to be some other job where it's like, oh, you know, you're just like collecting or analyzing like DNA samples or something, like, you know, something that's like, oh, okay, you know, that doesn't have anything to do with like finances. Yeah, so like there's that. But if you've committed a violent crime in the past, even if you've done all of your like time and everything and you're rehabilitated, the court system says you're rehabilitated, you can never have a job with children. It's one of those like things where I'm just like, but can we not? It's so stressful. It's so stressful. But then there's other things like you could be denied an apartment because of your criminal background history. And like, if you're rehabilitated and you are out in the world, why like, why is that a thing? Why, like, you it's always like it's like you always have to like live with this crime in the background, even though like the court system says, yeah, you're fine. Like, shit, what? You know? So then you have to find like basically skeezy landlords who will let you rent from them, and sometimes it's not in the best area, or, you know, it really doesn't give you a leg up, which is again one of those things where it's like, okay, but like the court system said you get this much time and you're free, and then like society is like, ah, fuck you, no, we're not playing with you. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you can't, like, why? Like, why does a person have to like live in the shadow of like their worst moments for the rest of their life? Can you imagine like coming back, like, you know, you've like changed your life, you've gotten out of prison, you've done all of these cool things, you're like good, strong pillar of the community, and you still can't get someone to rent to you. And it's like been 10 years, 15 years, 20 years since like you were a child or whatever, early 20s, and you got involved with the wrong shit, you know, like, and what are you supposed to do? You know, like, you can't, like, it's almost like you can't move on, and they won't let you move on. And it's so ridiculous to just be like, oh damn, nope, done. Yeah, it's out, it's done. You know, like, you committed, it's almost like you chose to commit that crime, so you are choosing for the rest of your life to live in that. That sucks. But like, I mean, I'm no better, because like I have definitely judged who was that person? He was like one of the club kids. He died from an overdose or whatever, but like he got out after 20 years, and I was still like, Michael Olig. I was still like, no. But like also understanding that like he should have the opportunity to like overcome like what he did, and especially after all of the years, and James St. James writing his book and everything, like it was a whole thing. Like if you're not familiar with the concept, let's see, James St. James wrote a book. He was Michael Olig's like friend at the time of this murder, that like Michael Olig murdered his drug dealer Angel, and this was in New York in like let's say early 90s, like 92, 94, one of those, and it was a drug fueled thing. Like they were paranoid. They like put his body in a box and put him in one of like the rivers in New York, and his body washed up, and he was interviewed, and it was a whole thing. And like I still, like, when he finally got out, I still judged him. I was like, oh my god, like, what are you doing? But like he was like, listen, I like technology, there's all of this stuff, I'm not who I was, and like he was trying to definitely overcome all of that stuff, but he, demons they don't leave you alone very easily. So I believe he died of an overdose, which is also sad. But I mean, again, like I've still judged him based on the things that had happened, and what I knew. James St. James' book is Disco Bloodbath, and then there's a movie called Party Monster, if you're interested in any of like that background. So yeah, like it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And like yes, the community sometimes can't move forward, but like the rest of the world has, technically. So like you should be able to get out, get a job, do the things that you need to do, and like do better. Excuse me. Anyway, I hope that was helpful for you, and I will talk with you soon.